so that I can show the good folks at Toggl our demo
Okay.
here. And I did some research and I saw that you're actually the head of the Lifelong Learning Center.
Yeah, that's my professional name.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm curious, like, how many team members do you have that you work with on a regular basis, and what do you do at the center?
It's actually 50 members. Do you see my video or you don't?
I can't see your video now.
Okay. So is it important or not?
You don't have to if you don't want to.
Okay.
It's okay.
It's just I just noticed that it's switched off, but if it's okay. So it's 15 members. We usually do our daily tasks, everyone at their own desk. So actually everyone has their own workload, their own portfolio of projects to deal with, and different smaller tasks within these projects that they have to manage. Like we do payment claims, we do monitoring reports, we do counseling for project applicants, and so on. So there are some tasks that we do together as a team, but most of the time spent at work or doing work is by yourself. So actually, yes, we used Toggl for a month. I guess it was also a year or a little more ago, and it was this free version of it. So I'm curious to hear what are the benefits of the paid version.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for all of the context. And that's pretty common, for a lot of people to have their own individual projects that they're kind of laser focused on. But then as a team, some of the accounting and billing stuff is going to be an effort that involves sometimes multiple people. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you Toggl. Let me make sure that this is the right window. Boom. All right. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see. Thanks.
Great. So I went ahead and opened up to start at the dashboard, but I'm actually going to switch over here to the timer really quick. So some of this might look a little familiar if you guys used it a year ago. But I love using Toggl. I've been using it every day for a while now, and it helps me keep a clear focus on all of the organizations, not just my work at Toggl, but I do sales advising for another company. I do some volunteering type stuff. So it just helps me understand exactly where all of my time is going throughout the week. So it's pretty straightforward, to add new time entries. If what I should have done before, but I'll do it right now, is I'll make note that for Toggl, I am running a demo for NOV. And I can just go ahead, I can select Toggl as the client, because Toggl is my client in this case. And then I would just tag it as a demo. And I would go ahead and start that recording. And so what that's doing in real time for me is helping track that time. And there's a desktop app. I don't know if anyone on the team had experience with our desktop or our mobile apps in the past.
Probably not. We just use the browser version.
Yeah. So is this showing on the screen that you can see now?
I'm not sure. Yes, it says toggl.com app timer. Yeah, it's similar, but
I need to make it so that you can see the whole screen and not just that window. So let's do this again. Or I could just show this individually real quick. So now you should just see the desktop window. So what's cool is that this same application exists on my iPhone, and
Okay.
there's a live sync between all of the applications.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I were to refresh it, it would show in real time that it's tracking along. You know, this is the entry that we just made of
Mm-hmm.
us working together. And I can
Cool.
go in after the fact and I can manually change the time. So if I'm not perfect, you know, I sometimes make
Mm-hmm.
mistakes. I can set it to be billable and let
Mm-hmm.
Toggl know that my hourly rate applies for this too. Um, so that's something that is just really cool, being able to have live syncing. So if I'm not at my computer, I can still track time on
Mm-hmm.
meetings and all that good stuff that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing that's awesome that I love about this too is using the reporting feature. So I need to make it go to this week. So we're at Wednesday so far. But I can see like exactly how much time I'm spending on everything every day and where all
Mm-hmm.
of that time is going between all of my different, you know, time engagements and so on. Um, I love writing, so I wanted to know how much time I spend writing every day, for
Mm-hmm.
example. Um, but you can group it not just by the project. So I call all of these different projects. I can group it by other things too, and this will be more relevant when I show you what Toggl looks like for a company. So if you're a
Okay.
manager, I have a
Mm-hmm.
totally different workspace environment to show you. We call it
Yes.
Synergy Rocket LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if I were to go over here, we have a lot of data in this particular.
Actually, I'm seeing just this desktop version right now.
Ah,
Yeah.
I am so sorry. I should have noticed that. Here we go. Boom. That might be better.
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
Thank you for letting me know. I'll go ahead and just keep rolling if that's okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that's the reports part of it. So this is me seeing the time of my team members, right?
exactly.
Or just myself.
Well, you can filter it down to just yourself or all of your team members.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so here we have an example of a company where they have people in HR and
Mm-hmm.
finance that are using Toggl. Their software development team uses it, marketing, and we
Mm-hmm.
can narrow down on a lot of these reports to gain some really cool insights on how people are spending their time. And up here, you'll see just like the total number of hours that people are working that are billable versus non-billable. And I wish I could
Mm-hmm.
point with my finger, but that little number next to it in USD, that
Yeah.
is the
The,
like
mm-hmm.
the revenue, the income.
Okay, so it's kind of an accounting tool to.
Yeah, it's you could look at it as I like to
Um,
think of it as a transparency tool,
yeah.
an accountability tool.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it can also be an accounting tool. Right. So I just want to stop right here and ask, do you have any questions based on anything you've seen so far?
I have a question. How many characteristics can I put on a task that I'm doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So if I went over to the timer and I decided to write in a new, let me move this out of the way, write in a new thing. So test, task, there's the description, which
Okay.
is this. And
Mm-hmm.
and keep in mind in all of the reports, it's totally up to you how you want to build your Toggl environment. We can
Mm-hmm.
help you do this any way that you want. But here's the direct answer is there's the description. I
Mm-hmm.
can select a client,
Mm-hmm.
or excuse me, this one right here is project. So I think that if I typed in development, all right, for whatever reason, my user permission in Synergy Rocket doesn't let me see some of the
Mm-hmm.
other stuff because I'm not an admin, but
Okay.
we'll show you that more later. But the project, you can customize whatever you want for
Mm-hmm.
tags, and then you can select a client for the project.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you that in the reporting feature. So let's say that I was wondering a little bit more about my software development team.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to get some insight on how they're spending their time and so on. Well, I could do that by going to the team, and I could select a group called front-end developers. And that would show me everything that my front-end developers are working on. And if I wanted to know, I can group it a lot of different ways. And this is something that's really cool. So I can group it by project and then task. And then when I click on any of these rows, I can see exactly how much time and how much money is going into and coming from all of the tasks that they're doing throughout the week. So, but if I didn't want to do that and I wanted to know instead who is spending the most time on developing our new user interface? Well, that looks like Abhilash and Nari are leading the pack. And so there's all kinds of useful insights that you can gain. Or you could start off by choosing the client that you're working on. So if it's a project to update the new UI, then I could filter by this entire operation took 426 hours to do for everyone. We spent 140 hours on development or deployment, 137 on development, and 148 on review. So I show you all this just to kind of show that regardless of what kind of department or how many members, you can really see like everything that is going on.
Okay, just a question. Can everyone enter their individual projects, or do the project's characteristics have to be entered by a manager or an admin or something?
That's great. That's a great question. So individuals can choose to use Toggl however they want. And if you choose as a manager, you can create projects, and then you can assign users to the project.
Okay.
So what's an example of a project where you know that you're going to have multiple people working on it? No, I'm curious.
Let's say something, it's about developing a feature in our information system.
Yeah, so then I could go in here and I could create a new project.
Okay.
And is that, we could say that that's maybe an IT project?
Maybe, yeah. It's actually combined. It's like management, IT, let's say IT.
So we can actually do both. We can say it's IT and management. So let's say it's management, and then I could create that project. And then from that project, where's our fancy new one? I could go ahead and choose what team members I want to add to it. So say it's Juno, it's Lucy, and Selena. I've added their project. If you have employees, well, I'll just ask. This isn't relevant for everyone. Do you have employees that are like billed hourly or anything like that?
No, actually, what I meant, it's like an inner development. In our own IT system.
Absolutely, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. And then I'm the manager, but I can easily go in here and I can assign roles to other people. So I can Selena the manager of the project. I can change my own manager, but I won't do that. And then I can start assigning tasks. So if we need to do some research, I can assign that. I can say, Selena, you're the manager. You need to do all the research. Then I can say coding. And I know that Juno or Lucy are really good at that. So they can go ahead and run that for me. So this is just giving an idea again of like, people can do exactly what I do in my own workspace, which I'll switch back to. and I can track my time as efficiently as I want for Toggl and for my own purposes. But then in the same breath, you guys can assign projects, you can assign tasks to me, and this can be as like a single pane of glass to help make everyone more efficient in everything that they do.
So a question, if it's kind of a project management also, so if assigned tasks, can there be also subtasks or something, or just I have to do the tasks as tiny as possible and mark them and assign them individually?
I think that is solved by people marking their own subtasks.
Okay. So it's like it's when it's research, then everyone doing that task will do their own description.
Yeah, and what you can ask everyone to do is for everyone to include the word research in their description. And I can go to reports, and what I'd be able to do is go and search the word research. If I did that, it wouldn't return any data, right? Because but you can search it by tags that they add to it. You can search it by the description that they add to it, and that'll give you all the same insights.
And every time that I enter a description, it will be also it's next time I can choose it, not print it, just type it. Or
actually,
do I
yes.
have to type it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll just go back to my workspace because that's easier for me. So I'm all done with the task. So if I were to give another demo, it's showing me all of the things that include the word demo that I've done in the past. So I think I've actually, yeah. So if I want to mark competitive research or research for anything else that I've done, super easy. I don't have to type it every time.
Great. That's good.
Yeah, I think so
typing
too.
is the thing that takes the most time.
Yeah, and I'll show you something else that is useful for that too. So I just switch back to the other workspace here. And if I go, where's the workspace settings? Here we go. If I went into the settings for my company Synergy Rocket, then I could, right down here, I can set a lot of different permissions, right? So as a manager, I don't want people going back and changing their time entries that are a week or a month old, right? So I can actually lock that by my own standard. We can change some other stuff like who can see dashboards, yada, yada, but this is very useful. So I don't want to allow anyone to save time without including a description. So done. And another thing that is a great part of the premium plan is you can get email notifications and reminders. So if people aren't tracking their time, you can notify them and make sure that they're actually using the tool. Toggl is so easy to use that we don't really have that problem too often. But if there's a project that you have I don't want any more than 100 hours being spent on this particular project. Well, as a manager, you can get updated when you're at 50%, 75%, or 100% of the project completion. And then this is also where you would go in and add your management, add your IT people, whatever the case is. So, any other questions so far?
Starting to like it.
Yeah, great. That's wonderful.
Actually, the question is when we're doing a lot of remote work and everyone's working at their own time and I don't know, it's like I don't know how to describe it then, but when you're like in usual working hours, you're taking personal time and then working at other times. Will that be seen also for the manager? So the actual times, not just the hours, but actual.
Yeah. So
starting from, okay.
If I go back here, if you look in this column, it shows I'm in Eastern time zone in America.
Okay, yeah.
So I can see, okay, looks like every day I'm starting to get warmed up at right around 8 o'clock, 8:30. I'll usually wrap up between 4 and 5. Sometimes I'll do other stuff like writing or whatever later in the day. But yeah, you can always track exactly what hours of the day that your employees are working. And it doesn't matter what time zone they're in, because when you go, I think it's in Team, if I'm not mistaken. So if I look at Abalash again and I edit he's Pacific Midway time. So I can go here and I can set it on an individual basis for whatever. Yeah. Toggl is a fully remote company too. So
I'm aware of that. But actually, for me as an employee, if I write down personal time, will my manager see it? Or just it's not in the work time report?
Yeah, I think you can change the permissions, and you can do stuff like when I'm at work, I'm only marking down, these particular projects that have been assigned to me or that I'm working on. I also personally like to include my personal stuff. Lunch, day planning, I don't mind if my employee knows that I'm going to a medical appointment and stuff like that.
That's different. Not everyone's as open as you are.
That's totally fair. So yeah, you can what you can actually do is just create a separate workspace for yourself.
Okay.
So I would go, and your managers, employees, no one would ever see anything because this is your own. I'm not going to invite anyone because I respect my own privacy.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And is there anything else that you would like me to know or ask me?
I think that it's more important that you have your questions answered than I have mine.
I have the first picture, and actually as a manager, I like the reporting, the possibility of many characteristics there, because it's important to know what is in the project that is taking the most time, or it's like if it's the estimated time for a task, or it's exceeding it. So I think this tool is doing really great doing that.
That's wonderful. Yeah, the reporting is what I, as a user, love the most, and it's what most managers really appreciate too. Because to your point, I want to know where the biggest time sucks are in the organization. So,
and for me, it's to compare. So if we are estimating that, like let's say a payment claim takes an hour or 3, so if different people are using the time as efficiently as they should be.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you see the value.
I do see that.
Yeah.
Because when you're not tracking and reporting, it's really difficult to know what is consuming the employee's time.
Yeah. And when it comes to the different plans that we offer, the free plan is just, for people who are kind of curious to just track their own time. Not a ton of features. Starter is mostly for individual freelancers. So this is someone who wants to be able to bill their customer for how much they're spending on graphic design and stuff like that. And premium is what we recommend to anyone that's an actual company. You have a team of around 50 people, so that would be our recommendation to you. And that's what's going to get you all of the project and employee reports that are so useful. That's what's going to allow you to, schedule reports and see email reminders and stuff like that. And we will actually work with you to help you set up your environment and make sure from the start that it's something that's going to actually help you.
Great. And what's the training that it includes?
I would need to follow up with you in an email once I figure that out, because we take it on a
this
case
is what
by
I would.
case.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading here, that it includes free training for who and in what form.
Yeah, let me get back to you, because I think it would depend on how many users would be needing to sign up. If there's more users, then we can be, more giving in how much free training that we would include.
Okay, so yes, please send me the detailed information about that, and I think I will talk to my my people, and we'll consider it.
That is awesome. Yeah, so I'll make sure to follow up this call with an email that has some more of the information. And just so that I can actually have something that will help you present to your management, do you know just like roughly how many users would want to sign up for the tool?
I think it's about 35 persons.
Excellent. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and send you something that's tailored for that.
Okay.
That is perfect. So let me go back to my team. And I really appreciate your time, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate yours too. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, Maya.
Yeah. You too. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye. Try to figure out how to end the call. Here we go. Bye-bye.
Bye.